with the power pool setup, so if you make the top 2 in your initial pool, you made one of the power pools along with the 2 best third-place teams. The women's has been pretty topsy-turvy. The parity is astonishing. It really felt like anyone can beat anyone, and we've seen that. Both sides have suffered losses in this tournament. A couple for the Switzerland, they went down 13-11 to Russia early on. They took 15-12 loss to Finland, but they've played their best in the bracket, and the Irish have done the same. They lost 13-12 to Finland in their first game. The power pools suffered another couple of losses, lost 15-12 to Russia and 14-9 to Germany, and then when the bracket came on, all of a sudden they really found their form, avenged that loss to Finland in a tight rivalry game. Those two, not traditional ultimate rivals, but they've built up a nice little contest over the past season or so. Squeaked out an 11-10 Universe point win, and then another rematch in the semis, reversing the scoreline against Russia to emerge victorious 15-12 in what is arguably the most impressive win of the tournament.
Well, we've really seen the Irish team open up their confidence as they develop into the late stages of this tournament, and this, of course, the pinnacle of European women's ultimate. So Ireland getting us underway as we see 3-handler set at the back. No early deep shot. Look out for the arms of Lulu Boyd, and they see in the center of the field, I believe that's number 95. And Gil Heaney, she had some amazing long throws in their semi-final, right out of the blocks. 1-point scores aplenty. So nice and patient here from the Irish ladies. Finds good movement. See Highland there with the disc in her hand. She's going to put a shot into the end zone for Melvin. A quiet, patient, offensive hold to start us out in this game.
Just they're doing the right thing. They're taking the open passes as they're offered to them, moving the disc relatively quickly, not rushing the throws. They're taking time to make sure you've got it firmly in hand and looking, make sure you know where the defenders are before moving the disc on nice point. Not just working it down calmly, 12 passes in the end, down the field for a goal. And we saw the Swiss play a bit of zone in the windy semi-final we streamed yesterday against Italy. That flummoxed them a little bit. Not so much for the Irish with the wind a little bit further, just nowhere near as strong as it has been at various points in the tournament. And in addition to that as well, another thing about opening up with the zone, obviously we talked about the Irish having that big play style. Gilheeney especially is someone who has a propensity to put it deep. And
I think that is definitely an understatement. She was like, her team described her as being a golfer on top form. That was her semi-final.
Just driving it like continuously down the fairway, so to speak. But if you come zone, it forces you just to get away from that first look and try something else, and making sure this Irish side don't get that energy that they thrive on is a good idea for the Swiss.
Well, we'll now see Hauser with the disc, one of the big distributors for the Swiss side, a former Euro star, loads of experience. As we see, great upline play from Switzerland. Cerule pops it in, and that is a sneak down the far side. An easy score, much faster for the Swiss as they put their first point on the board.
Cerule to Niederhauser is a pretty potent combination. I'm sure we'll see those two connect up quite a lot in this game. Cerule's been a key player downfield for Switzerland, actually originally from Latvia, but she brings a huge amount of size downfield, and it means that she's really imposing. A lot of the time she gets forced under, obviously really cognizant of the damage she can do in the deep space, but she's more than capable with the disc in her hands, as you can see there, just sliding that one down the sideline to Lauren Niederhauser.
So 2 clean holds to start off this women's gold medal match. Talk about the fact that these two teams haven't yet met formally this season, but I believe the Irish contingent of Desky did play the Swiss. I believe that was at Tom's tourney many moons ago. Seems like a distant memory, I'm sure.
Yeah, only 2 months on the calendar, but it does feel like an eternity away, you're right. And that's actually the first time that Coach Derek Gottlieb got a chance to meet quite a lot of this Swiss side.
Indeed, Gottlieb, I've had to play against his coaching style quite a few times this season. He was also coaching the women's beach side back at the EUC 2 months ago. Really committed to coaching this women's team coming across. He, as you say, initially came across with Toms and then went back to the States for a little while. But he's such a lovely chap, so look out for him. He's going to be wearing a black Swiss jersey with a coach emblazoned on the back. And you see, I'll put a challenge out here, Benji. If you can figure out which offensive style, which club team in the States has inspired some of their offensive looks for the Swiss. So we see the rather short out of bounds pull, giving great field position to the Irish. Boyd to Galini. Casual scuba fake. So we see once again the Swiss choosing to play the defensive style of trying to frustrate maybe. Oh, and that's talk about Galeni's lazy scuba fake almost. Look at Boyd's fakes. We saw her sending marks tumbling to the ground in their semi-final. Oh, and there we see the scuba over the top. Love a bit of that action from the Irish as they put a nice backhand into the path of Brina Healy.
Beautiful throw from Melvin. Defenders were drawn to the front of the end zone by the player there, and that high release backhand just sitting it over the top to Healy at the back of the end zone. Very confident zone offense again from the Irish. The lack of wind means that those overheads are very much on, especially when you're a thrower of the quality of Galini. Beautiful throw, finds Melvin in space and looks downfield, sees a target at the back of the end zone, rolls that backhand right into space. Easy catch for the goal. The Irish looking very comfortable to begin this game, Hannah.
They certainly are, Benji. Talk about Melvin. She'll be appearing in the States later on this year, joining the Eurostars tour. And of course, Kelly Hyland, also no stranger to the American ultimate scene, Benji.
Yeah, she's one of the players that's come over to play with this Irish women's side. She spent a bit of time in Ireland, so it's not just a pure pickup, but
I believe they taught her how to play ultimate frisbee. That's why she picked it up.
And now coming back to play with her ultimate home country, shall we say.
Yes, indeed. Stepping away from the Premier Ultimate League finals of all things. I think she even was absent in their semi, but Irish delighted to have her available as a target in this game as we see that zone that was so lethal against Russia. 3 zone looks have the Irish in their pocket. As we see now, Swiss exposing the space on the near sideline. Good movement as we see them sticking with the zone separation downfield, but that's going to sit and hang. Oh, the defense just give up on that one. You see the dejected look of Linehan.
Switzerland looking very comfortable playing zone offense as well. Very high quality start to this game. 2 clean holds from both sides. The first Swiss point, they just worked it down that 4 sideline against the match defense of the Irish. This time they thought they'd throw something a little bit different, but so calm and confident from the Swiss. Both sides looking very assured to start this game on that beautiful deep shot from Hauser. She's a player who is just a supreme thrower, one of the best in the division, and a couple of targets in the end zone. Lehmann, who was actually the only player crossing over from that Swiss women's beach team. Often you see quite a lot of continuity, not so much here with Switzerland, and I think actually Lehmann leaves it in the end for Gertinger to make the catch.
So fabulous throws as always from Olivia Hauser. Plays for Flying Angels Bern. And every time that she doesn't appear, that seems to be the main story about Fab. It's her absence. So we'll get the play back underway with Ireland shooting. I can't really feel the wind right now. I'm sure it's present down on the field, but so gentle these conditions, not favouring the zone and allowing those scubas as we see Galeni putting over the top.
Healy doing a very good job of attacking the disc, taking it nice and early, not letting the defenders knock it away.
Oh, the second look, much more pressure there, but still makes the catch, does Healy. Patient swinging across now. Boyd. Again, using those sharp fake movements. An offhand backhand finds Myrna. Oh, she puts an expansive throw out in front of Sarah Melvin. Those two connect once more, and that's the 3rd point on the board for the Irish.
Melvin's been involved in every point for the Irish. Got 2 goals already, along with an assist. Being very dominant downfield. Gilheeney really looks like she has fun as a thrower. Love putting those scubas into space, and that Switzerland zone isn't putting enough pressure on the handlers for me. When you've got throwers the quality of Gilheeney and Boyd, you've really got to threaten the blocks. You've got to make them really have to work to get throws off. If you give them space and you give them time, they can throw whatever they want, and whatever they want is too good to defend. Lovely shot into space for the goal as well from Myrna to Melvin.
So very good offense from both sides on display here in this women's final match. The pinnacle of this tournament, Benji. It's a beautiful day, sunshine, just a bit of gentle breeze to keep things interesting. You can see in the back of the shot there a very dusty car park with you can see how it's not really moving much, the dust. It's just sitting and hanging, being caressed by the wind as Hauser gets us back in play. Hear the crowd getting loud in the stands. Cerule pops it back.
The Irish always famed for bringing a loud sideline presence.
Oh, and that's a greatly placed disc and an easy score. Things so smooth for these offensive lines. A hold levels it back up at 3 apiece.
Talked about Cerule being a devastating target downfield, catching that deep shot, and then getting Göttinger her 2nd goal of the game. I would say that Olivia Hauser is on form as a thrower. She's dealing at the moment 2-inch perfect deep shots. See her fake the backhand, go for the flick, and with no wind, Cerule somehow leaking back behind the coverage. If you think there's one player you'd be aware of in the deep space, it would be her, but she was very sneaky, got behind that last line of defence. Hauser was more than happy to put the deep shot up. A nice continuation to Göttinger for 3-all. Very clean start to this game, Hannah.
Well, this will be an absolute delight, especially for the Swiss, because they're actually missing one of the key parts of their offensive handler set against a zone. That's the number 13, Veronique Meyer. She unfortunately is injured, therefore will not be appearing on the field. We might snack her, though, potentially for a little interview.
Yeah, the Irish been fortunate with the injury luck this week, not bringing anything major into this game. We saw Siebert get injured in the semi-final yesterday, took an elbow to the head from Kunzelman on a defensive bid and went to the hospital. They had a look at it and actually in the end opened up a little bit but didn't even need stitches, and good, she'll be back on the field today.
Healy with that beautiful flowing ponytail with the on-theme ribbons. Irish pride showing in the accessorization on the field, as that is an absolute diamond. She puts that one in the bank. A lovely form from Kelly Hyland.
Sorry, I was going to say a diamond for Hyland. She is a fantastic layout. And once more, Melvin getting involved. Another assist, 2 goals, 2 assists. She is doing so much damage for the Irish. And again, that time started a little bit saggy and then transitioned into one-on-one, and the Irish worked it to the break side quickly. A nice shot into space. Required a play to be made from Hyland, and by God, did she make it. Look at it again on the replay, just perfect. You like to see the way she turns the disc in her hand after she makes the catch to make sure that when she lands, she's not ground stripping herself, making sure that she's keeping those wrists as well, so you're not going to land awkwardly and injure yourself. Beautiful form there for Hyland.
So I have a question to ask of you, Benji. We've mentioned the fact that Hyland left the Premier Ultimate League, or the Premier Ultimate League, a little bit early to come and play this championship. And obviously she's now in the gold medal match. Do you reckon it's worth it?
I'd say it's worth it.
But of course they will have heard, Knightlock would have missed her, falling just short of depth in that first appearance of the Premier Ultimate League. Lovely to see that. If you haven't heard of it and haven't checked it out yet and you're a fan of Women's Ultimate, then please do get your eyes on that. But it's become some spicy games this week. Oh, nearly an error, but great backup there from the Swiss.
Good field awareness, making sure that was in place to chase it down. The Irish have a couple of zones that they like to bring out. They have different ideas. Some are done to create pressure, some are just done to be a bit more frustrating. This one really just trying to slow down the Swiss, but they've got through and now they jailbreak down the field.
Finding their connections with ease and patience. Now reforming their structure. Just well fielded. Oh, and it's snagged away. We get our first turn of the game with a run through D from Moffat. And now we'll see our first look at what the Swiss O-line can come out with on defense. Shot into space. Out goes the arm of Leahy. Finds Healy. Already one goal to her name. Nice expansive. They can't find the continuation. Oh, and that's a bit of a risky throw there. McCarthy not really in the right position to be hit.
It was a nice idea putting the throw in space to the break side, but it hung up a little bit too much and allowed the defender to come in over the top. And after just being a little bit careless when the Swiss got near the end zone, the Irish have repaid the favour, so to speak, and now the Swiss can march it down and tie us up at 4s.
This is great zone offense. This might be a little bit too far. Yeah, just tails over the head of Lehman.
I think she was probably could have done it, but she slowed down a little bit too far underneath. She's continued running deep. I think she could have caught it in stride.
Wasn't the nicest release. Oh, and a recatch from Ireland. Composure from the hands of Jennifer Kwan. There's a reset available to her left. Chooses the high release. The stall is called on the field.
Yeah, Kwan, a player with another one of these ultimate families. Her sister's one of the captains for Great Britain, been playing here this week as well. And actually, they've never played with or against one another, despite being in relatively the same circles and playing in the same teams at very high quality women's ultimate, which is highly unusual.
Well, that's just bizarre. Surely they should have met by now.
You'd have thought so, but maybe they're picking and choosing where they go, so they never have to face up against each other.
Oh no, I love a bit of sister rivalries here on the field.
I tried to get my younger brother to play ultimate once, and I ended up spreading my ACFL, so that went well.
Well, can't have it all, Benji. As we see an errant disc from Ireland. Estelle Merchant unable to reel that one in. On the far sideline, disc back in the hands of the Swiss. And now, good defense from Ireland, really smothering the shots upfield. Nice patience. Also choosing to be a bit more conservative this time after that slightly less than ideal inside backhand that went tailing. Oh, a nice shot through the middle. Immediately swung to that far side. Swiss doing a great job of keeping the disc in flow, but there's an error. Just way too much of a casual release from Hauser. And Suruda had no way of playing on that. Timeout from Ireland, and that is a good call, I think, Benji.
Yeah, both sides have got a little bit sloppy. I think just after a very clean start to this game, maybe I don't want to say they've slacked off a bit, but just guilty of not executing as well as they should. You see there that poach block. The disc was a little bit off target and was gobbled up by the Irish defender. There was the first Irish turn as the disc popped up, and it was well defended by the Swiss as well. So after very quick starts to the game, it's slowed down a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how teams can keep their shape. As we see the Irish men in the crowd, they had a good time at the party last night. They were trying to get people involved in what has become Ireland's new national sport, I think.
Oh yes, what sport is that, Benji?
The noble art, the hero's game of sock wrestling.
Oh, I heard that the sock wrestling after Windmill during the volunteer party was arguably the highlight of that entire tournament, which is a hard ask.
I've never seen anything like it. One of the Irish volunteers stood just clad in his underwear and socks outside the little TD hut for a full-on 15 minutes, waiting for one of the tournament directors, who is a noted sock wrestler, two-time windmill sock wrestling champion, to come out, and he had no idea what he was faced with. The Irish known for bringing a good time both on and off the pitch.
Well, if you have interest in finding out more about sock wrestling, I'm sure you can look it up online. Obviously, the wealth of the information available on the internet in the modern age. Such a joy.
I come to understand that the big boss man, Mike Palmer of Ulti.tv, also owns the rights to sockwrestling.tv. So who knows, maybe in future we'll get that out.
Well, either way, talking about the other pursuits of the Irish, one of the ways they've been keeping loose throughout this tournament, they are completely separate. They're in a secret hotel, not part of the organised accommodation from the committee here in Győr, Hungary. They have a pool, a jacuzzi, and apparently they've been putting together some pretty tasty karaoke. And I believe there's if Ireland get the win, Sarah Melvin, the captain of the Irish team, she hasn't actually taken the microphone yet. She's holding it out there like a carrot on a string in front of her team. But we'll tell you what song it will be when we come back in at the half. So, Ireland loz it deep. That's going to be a bit of a dirty flick put, but scooped up by Lonergan. And a nice score for the Irish, and that is our first break of the game, Benji.
Linehan finds number 22, Emma Healy, for the first break. A slightly dicey deep shot. I don't think Linehan was I don't think the receiver was the intended target, but again, we've seen this a couple of times. Just good awareness, recognizing that this throw is going to sit up a little bit, and actually I've got a chance to chase it down from this near sideline, running it down and then flowing it quickly into the end zone before the Swiss defenders could get set. And the first 2-point lead of the game, Ireland lead 5-3 as we see a replay of that deep shot. Really well read by Linehan. I think actually Doyle was the intended target, but didn't matter. Backup was needed, it was delivered, and now Ireland take a 5-3 lead.
Yeah, Linehan there cleaning up for Cleaner Doyle, who couldn't get her arms around it. And Ireland, this is such a momentum changer at that point. We saw our first turns in this game after so many clean offensive holds in a row. And 35 passes from the Swiss to Ireland's 14 shows the difference in the styles against the defensive looks of these two teams. So Switzerland now to respond to the Irish break. Niederhauser on the disc. Low pass goes to the knees. Göttinger around backhand. Hauser. This is nice flow, a little bit clustered upfield, but a shot from the hand of Hauser. Going to be read beautifully. Finds Niederhauser for the score. It has a second goal of the game. Hauser having a lot of fun throwing it deep. People know that it's coming, and yet they still can't stop it. The throws are so on the money. A little bit of more wind picking up, but Hauser's such a strong thrower. It always seems like it's still out there, regardless of the conditions. In these windy conditions, especially out there on field 2, the other field we've been streaming this week, she's consistently been one of the few players able to put it against that strong, fierce wind. So a little cool breeze flowing through the stadium is not going to be enough to dissuade her from throwing those deep shots. Well, Benji, I think the wind, the elements heard you. Mother Nature just sending a little gust through the stadium as you talked about how Hauser can throw so well against the wind. Speaking to the Irish ahead of this match, they were saying about the fact that they really wanted to try and take away the backhands of the Swiss side, which they, studying some of the tape from the previous stream matches during this tournament, that's one of the weaknesses that they saw from the other defensive efforts against the Swiss. So we've seen Hauser put it deep with a couple of flicks that haven't looked maybe quite so smooth and clean as her backhands early this tournament, as Myrna, that far side, finds Melvin. Nice inside, but that's going to be underthrown, hits the floor, far out of reach of Kelly Hyland. The Swiss now looking to capitalize and get that break back, but they make an error of their own. Too far for Laura Kunzelmann.
Two of the standout young players on the Swiss side, Linnea Siebert and Laura Kunzelmann, not connecting there, just not quite on the same page, a little overthrown, and Ireland get the disc back after that initial turf.
Well, fans of the Swiss's game against Italy on field 2 early this week were looking for Lundman to match up against Anna Chesky, the big unit for the Italians. Watching her mark against Sarah Melvin's a beauty as Melvin puts it into the pocket of her teammate for the score. It's Myrna.
It's Fiona Myrna with the goal. Ireland reopen up the 2-point advantage at 6-4. Every offensive point has come through the hand of Sarah Melvin. 2 goals, 3 assists. Unless the Swiss can find an answer to the Eurostar, they're going to go down in this game. It's a question that was going to be asked: how well can your top players deliver in the big moments? Not necessarily seen an Irish team go this deep in the brackets, but they're looking like they're dealing with the conditions a lot better at the moment. Dealing with that finals pressure and that big sideline presence as well is not going to hurt things.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if perhaps the likes of Laura Kunzelmann can shut down Melvin and co. Obviously, we've already mentioned Fiona Myrna, though, those two working so beautifully together. Kwan with the pull for the Irish side. Looks like it's going to lie out of bounds. So, nice field position for Hauser to work with.
Not out of bounds by much, but it doesn't matter whether it's 1 inch or 1 mile. Not that a mile would ever happen, theoretically, but as long as it's out of bounds, you can get it from the brick mark.
I think it might matter a little bit for your own self-confidence, though, Benji, as a puller. Obviously, if you put it miles out of bounds or extremely short, it can just make that next pull seem a little bit more daunting. As we see the Swiss happy to take negative yards against this zone. And the give goes up that far sideline. So far away from us. Bit of a challenge to read the numbers from this distance. But of course, we're not complaining because we can see just how patient the Swiss are being right now.
Yeah, the Irish just trying to frustrate the Swiss here, really slow their progress down the field.
And that is the point of this 2-3-2 zone. Being passive, just trying to frustrate the offense of the Swiss. See if they can maybe sort of bait the throw from Hauser, that trying to throw her players open.
Switzerland at the moment not finding these squeezes through the front line. Maybe need to do a better job of really trying to fake out those defenders, get them biting, get them out of position.
Oh, and there's a really high disc. A nice option. I like the look, but just a bit too high for Göttinger to get her hands around.
She would have backed herself to make that catch. It's very rare that she makes a mistake of that nature, but maybe thinking as well that how close to the sideline she was and just lost focus. Couldn't bring it in on a throw that was a little high, and now Leahy can pick up for the Irish with another break opportunity.
Michelle Leahy, the Cork-based player, coming out of Rebel Ultimate. Huey. Oh, and that's a sensational hammer. Can it be reeled in? Yes, it is, for the goal by the Irish. Linehan with the score.
Linehan doing an excellent job reading that throw out of the hands of Pugh. I'll be honest, I didn't expect that shot to go up, but in the end zone where the space is a bit more congested, getting the disc on the break side can be so devastating. Defenders find it very difficult to have the time to recover that positioning, so if you consider throw out into space, the receivers are usually going to have the position on that one, and that time really well tracked to the back of the end zone by Linehan, and the Irish opening up a bit of a margin over Switzerland. Now 7-4 they lead.
Well, we've seen Linehan, one of the big targets on the Irish side. Expansive hammer throw. Not often seen in women's ultimate, the big hammers, but love seeing the scubas, all the overheads from this Irish side. Just, you can tell they're so familiar with throwing them. They're not even like a risky biscuit for them. It's just another day on the field for the Irish.
All that indoors practice that you get actually helps. A lot of times teams in the UK and Ireland over the winter retreat outdoors a little less and they play a bit more indoors, and that is where you really require those more creative throwing looks to open up space, and that practice we see comes very helpful, especially against zones when there's not quite as much wind.
Well, you do need to have the confidence to execute them outdoors though, as you say. On the indoor scene, you get away with, you know, perhaps discs you might not be able to put quite so consistently against a wee bit of wind. But nice to see just a little bit of a breeze here, keeping things interesting in this women's final match for the gold medal. Nice through the middle to Hauser. She just always seems to have it back to us as she finds Niederhauser. Oh, and that's a beautiful shot, but it might be a bit too far. Yes, it is, just tumbles to the turf. A turn for Switzerland and gives Ireland their first look at sinking out the half.
We talked about how the Irish were prepared for a lot of Switzerland give-go moves, especially on the backhand side. And they, after breaking through that front line, they got a little bit of love there, but eventually overshooting on that shot to Florence Windler. Mentioned that Coach Gottlieb's come over from the USA. I associate this give-go style with a lot of the Pacific Northwest teams like Raya and Schwa.
Oh, Benji, I put you out the challenge. You might just have got it. Portland Schwa is indeed the inspiration for some of the style of offense that the Swiss team are playing. McCarthy up to Linehan. Oh, opens up the backhand. That is a nice throw, but snaffled up by Lehmann. Great read on the disc from the defender in red.
Just see that little extra turn of speed, was able to get the position and in the end make a relatively comfortable D.
Beautiful give-go down this near sideline. Cerula, the big form. Nice underpass in the center of the field. See the first three players in the stack all coming out. Niederhauser looking a bit frantic, lost for options. Nice work across, and that's going to be a cheeky little dink into the end zone. A hold for Switzerland extends this half by one more point.
Much better on that second possession. Just taking a bit more time when they got in the red zone, where previously they've stagnated and rushed things a little bit, but rather than thinking, okay, we need to score, they're just trying to flow it into the end zone a bit more naturally, and if that's where someone happens to be open, that's the throw that goes. See the deep shot again there from Ireland on the replay, but easily snaffled up, as you mentioned, by Eliane Lehmann, and then very easy assist from Lenderman, finds her teammate for the goal.
And you have to give a little credit there to the footwork, the field awareness there, just slowly backing herself into the end zone.
Which is nicely done. I think it's Niederhauser again, who's having a very good game for Switzerland. I think that's her third goal already in this contest.
So the Swiss O-line there, as we see Siebert there with the pull. Really great to see her back on the field. Already mentioned, had a little bit of friendly fire in their semi-final against the Italians. Guhini.
I was going to say more zone here from Switzerland. Again, just trying to really slow down the Irish, and with the wind picking up a little bit, maybe trying to get a few of those turns on the overheads.
Well, that's the real key here for the Swiss D. They have to shut down the immediate long shots of the Irish handset, who love a big ball into the end zone. Just trying to make them throw more passes, see if they can pressure an error, as that is a sitter into the end zone, scooped out of the sky by Kelly Hyland.
Another goal for Ireland, Kelly Hyland. Two goals, 1 assist as the Irish take half. Once more, Melvin involved, her 4th assist to go along with a couple of goals. Every offensive point has come through the hands of Sarah Melvin. She is having a dominant game out here for Ireland, and Switzerland have been unable to stop that.
Well, Ireland taking 2 breaks in the early stages of this game. We had so many clean holds, Benji, up until the point where we were at 3-4, and the Irish just decided to have, well, I say that the Irish decided. That was actually a really hotly contested point. First, so we are back into the action, the thick of it here in the second half of the women's gold medal matchup between Ireland and Switzerland. Ireland with a zone look once more. It's been so effective through them this tournament. But the Swiss racy backhand there, coming out with a lot more punch. They currently 2 breaks down. Oh, and a casual toss into the turf from Cleaner Doyle. Great defensive players. You see Leahy on the disc, finds Pugh. Hear the yell of ISO on the field. Jane Holyhan scoops that one up. What a rescue from the young Irish player, the number 0. Good work, effort from the Irish handler set, just driving. Almost a flat palm open catch there. Oh, and a cheeky scooper over the top, cannot connect with Linehan, and the Irish give the disc back to the Swiss.
Linehan had already answered 1 prayer on that possession for the Irish. The second, high stall scuba over the mark, not able to be reeled in, so Switzerland going to get a second bite of the apple.
Oh, and you see them throw straight in, and a missed Callahan opportunity. You can see the regret on the face of Emma Healy as she realised just what she just did.
I think just gut instinct meant that she just hit it to the turf.
Oh, and this is a bizarre set of circumstances right here, Benji. After such a good first half, a battle with so many clean holds, this has just become a bit of a display of perhaps just opportunity getting at the better of them.
It's I'm not entirely sure what the Swiss were looking at with that zone. Just threw it right into the awaiting defender. Maybe just guilty of looking too far away and not seeing that receiver there, just locking onto the target and not scanning the field as a whole.
Perhaps a bit of contact there, as we saw the number 73 Claire Pugh going to ground. Fouls called. No corresponding signal I can see to indicate whether it's contested or uncontested. You can see the contact there. Yeah, there's just the knees clattering together, unable to make the bid.
Foul will be contested, so disc is going to go back to the thrower, number 67, Michelle Leahy.
Back in play. Knocking on the door of the end zone. Go the Irish, and they post it through to that near side corner for the score. Ireland now leading 9-5.
Pugh finds Kwon for the Irish break. Great start to the second half. This zone is really foxing the Swiss. They don't seem to have an answer for it at the moment. Nice little reset as well in the handler space.
So we see the Irish fans there in the stands, getting behind their women's side. And a cheeky little Conor McHale there, already scooped up some action on this field this morning. But obviously we're now in the heat of the day, Benji. The sun is beating down. Local time is just after 1 p.m. here in Győr, Hungary. And I once again am going to use one of my favorite Google search results. It's currently 30 degrees Celsius here on the turf. There is a little bit of a breeze, though, to cool things down and keep the ultimate very interesting.
There's a little bit of humidity in the air, some moisture, so players getting a little bit damp and sweaty. And sometimes you actually see this take effect on the field when throws slip out of people's hands. Just always good just take an extra second maybe just to wipe the palms, make sure that your hands are nice and clean.
And so we see the Swiss once more trying against this Irish zone. Nice slices through now. High release, oh, and then nearly into the turf. Here the chance from the sideline. Cerule back to Hauser. Opens up the backhand, but Myrna underneath makes a play for the Irish.
Those deep shots that were really working for Hauser in the first half, not coming off at the moment. Irish know that's what she wants, and they're getting great position to take them away.
Oh, but a miscue from the women in white. Myrna not able to get anywhere near looking at that throw. Nida Hauser back to Hauser. You can hear the communication on the field from our microphones down below. This is much better offense from the Swiss. Oh, big fake, moves that cup all the way out. Oh, nearly the bid for the defense. Wisely turns back and chooses the resets. Takes the swing across the field. Oh, and just a lack of composure. Laura Niederhauser there with a costly drop for the Swiss.
Not something you associate with her, but as we mentioned, just a few drops here from the Swiss, and the Irish stuck with that zone all the way to the end zone, and they found a pass, or they found a space, but couldn't make the catch. But they are going to get it back off great defense from Lindemann.
And a lovely put out into the space, collected by the number 14, Isabel Guttinger.
That one's going to work for Hauser after a couple of slightly dicey deep shots, finding her form and finding her way a little bit now in the second half. But if she doesn't, if Swiss don't start connecting very soon, the deficit's going to get too large. I think something that's important to note going into this game is we've had a long week here in Győr. It's been about 30 degrees at a bare minimum the entire week, and the Swiss are bringing a smaller roster into this game, so maybe there's just a little bit more wear and tear in the legs.
And also, it has to be said, a bit of a more experienced, mature roster than the Irish.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap in age for some of the players. Hauser's the veteran of this side, but Kunzelman, the youngest, is 20, but gradually they're usually in the high 20s in terms of age, so still maybe the peak as an athlete, but a long week at a tournament, not just playing as well. It's a tough drain on you mentally as well as physically. Obviously you're not at home, you don't have the same creature comforts that you're used to, and it can get you out of your comfort zone.
So the Swiss defensive line come out onto this field. They're going to need to find a break fairly soon if they're going to keep their eyes on that gold medal. Boyd finds Melvin. Easy play right now from the Irish. Happy to just play a bit of keep disc to retain their lead. Bit high though. Oh, and an error, unable to be rescued.
The throw from Boyd just popped up at exactly the wrong moment from the Irish perspective. But Switzerland can begin to eat away at this deficit now.
Nice little pause there from Lundsman. Oh, and a scorching D from Brina Healy.
Just accelerates and steals that one away from Switzerland, and a low throw is kept alive.
Highland and Melvin working this near sideline together against the zone of the Swiss. Gilhini gonna look for Boyd. Nice commitment there to that reset. Fakes the inside. Punch straight into the chest of Highland. Back to Gilhini. Considers the deep space. Oh, cheeky scuba. Goes to ground to keep that one alive.
Gilhini is rocking that scuba today.
Oh, and that's an absolute laser from Boyd. It's another score for the Irish. They retain their lead with a hold. 10-6.
That one right into the path of Brina Healy. Beautiful low release, never got too high. There's not much wind, but what there is was never going to get a chance to affect that throw. Beautiful, nice wide pivot. And the Irishmen celebrate in the stands as the 4-point lead is open up. They turned it over, but they worked hard to get it back on that fantastic run through from Brina Healy, and she gets a big bookends as well, punching in the score for a 4-point lead at 10-6.
Sinead Dunn there with the attempt to keep that disc alive on the far side, the number 58. So I did tease you a little bit with the information about the number 43, who we said so many times in this game, Sarah Melvin for the Irish side, that if her team were to win this match, she will be getting on the karaoke microphone with her team this evening. And the song she will be singing, quite appropriately, is Party in the USA, which of course I think quite nicely fits in the fact that she's going to be in the USA later on in August with the Eurostars Tour, as we've mentioned fairly consistently throughout this match. But that one will be dedicated to the young Sinead Dunn.
It's a very strong choice, I think. Not my but then I definitely have the wrong register for that.
I don't know, Benji. I reckon you can rock a bit of Miley Cyrus.
I've done a bit of falsetto on occasion, but maybe at the end of a long week, the pipes are a little bit rusty.
Oh, well, we've certainly been using our full vocal range in the latter stages, the business end of this tournament, and that is just a poor miscommunication between the Swiss handler set and a short field for Ireland as they get their eyes on another break-off score. Nice round reset. Timeout from the gloved hand of Kwan. Little discussion there.
Yeah, just working out what the stall's going to come back in on. Cerula is the Swiss player who's going to be on the force, and good call to take the timeout here. Another break puts you 5 points to the good. That would be a brutal margin, and they've looked good value for it so far. Was expecting Switzerland to adjust to these Irish zones in the second half, but if anything, they've looked a little bit rustier. Ireland just switching a couple of things up, so Switzerland are expecting to see certain things, and when it's not happening, they're throwing into blocks, they're miscommunicating in the backfield. It's a very off-colour performance from Switzerland at the moment.
Yeah, no doubt the Swiss will use the timeout taken by the Irish as they escape to the shade in this scorching heat here in Gür. Certainly not a familiar feeling to the Irish.
Yeah, they're a very pale nation, not one that's necessarily doesn't necessarily particularly get on with tans.
Well, I'm still looking forward to inspecting the tan lines of the Irishmen in our crew here at the European Ultimate Championships. Mr. Liam Grant rocking a what we've been referring to as a pentapus. He acquired some K-tape on his left wrist area. Jazzy looks, but Yeah, the Irish not really known for being fans of just sunbathing out. And some lovely ginger locks as well. So they'll just come home with perhaps a sparkly bit of gold if they can continue this dominance in this match. They currently lead 3 breaks ahead of the Swiss, but lots of freckles to, you know, just jazz up the look.
Well, the first time I ever met him, he told me his sun tanning philosophy is you've got to burn to turn. I don't really think he has much choice in the matter. Despite playing a lot of factor 50 the entire crew this week, we have wilted and burned a little bit. I think even the wisest of us, which is certainly not me.
Well, my downfall has certainly been being bitten by mosquitoes here. Extreme mosquito activity we saw as we were planning our group here, but got a bit bitten at the party last night.
Yeah, they've actually been flying a biplane over the city in the evenings to spray some mosquito repellent.
And that's a big play for the Swiss. A good read from the number 30. That's Florence Windler.
And Windler repels that one out of the side of the end zone. Hauser, who's not been at her sparkling best in this second half, picks up. You always know that she's got that capacity to put pixel perfect puts. Michelle Leahy is going to put on the mark for the Irish. No surprise to see them come back out in that zone.
Space available, the far side of their own end zone, but being pressed into Callahan territory. And I'm sure after their earlier error, certainly Emma Healy will be making sure if she is stood in the end zone, she catches rather than taps the disc to the dirt. As a defender, you always have to catch your Ds. That's why we have that mantra as we see an expansive shot over to Windler. Oh, and it's a beautiful backhand. Complete bus coverage downfield. A goal for Switzerland. They bring it back within 3 of the ladies in white.
Göttinger just recognising that the defenders were focused on the disc and leaked out the backside of that zone deep, and it was a beautiful put from Sarula. Hit her right in stride in the end zone with the force not particularly close. She is all the time in the world to just get her form perfectly and shoot that one deep for the Swiss hold. I think part of the reason the Swiss have struggled a little bit with the zone is it's leaving a lot of spaces on the far sides of the field, and where we've seen the Irish be more than happy to put those overheads over the top, the Swiss are a little bit more reticent to do so. Maybe it's not throws that they're as well versed in, and in the end it was a high release that got it over the cup towards his near side and that allowed the jailbreak to go, get the disc in motion, and well-timed deep cut from Göttinger, catching her 4th goal of the game for 7-10.
So again, we see Seabird there, key part of the defensive handler set. This Swiss defense as they put another zone look out here on this field. Gilheeney finds Highland. Those two playing a little game in the center of the field right now. Oh, a lovely shot over the top again. Those overheads to Myrna. Gilheeney making no pause, just head straight to the end zone. And it's another score for Ireland, leading the charge here in this women's gold medal match, 11-7.
We've already seen Gilheeney just slice and dice up the Swiss zone with those scubas from the handler set, and that time put it towards the far sideline. Noticed that there was space to make that continuation cut following the disc, going to the front of the end zone, collecting the throw from Fiona Myrna, and the Irish rocking in the stands. 11-7 they lead. I think it's fair to say the Irish have peaked at the right time in this tournament, getting white hot in bracket play.
They really have, Benji. I mean, watching them win that semi-final against the Russians was pretty incredible. They were the only, we talked about the topsy-turvy women's bracket play here at the European Championships. Russia were the only undefeated side here under the tutelage of Coach Dima. the big name in the Russian women's ultimate scene. They were sorely disappointed not to be here in the finals, but the Swiss, as I say, having won their power pool, had a nice journey here, and their semi against Italy was a little bit ended with a whimper rather than a bang due to some unfortunate injuries, but a creditable performance, playing the bracket smartly.
When I spoke to Coach Gottlieb earlier in the week, he was saying that obviously we want to try and win every game, but actually under the current format, it doesn't necessarily matter if you take those losses early on, as long as you can use it to work out some kinks, really get yourself completely smoothed out so you're hitting your best form by the time it comes to those do or die games at the end of the week.
And you do have to credit Gottlieb. His team are so disciplined, always looking to him, as that's a sensational grab on that far sideline. Going to be called out of bounds though, what a shame. Fantastic seams from Florence Windler.
So there's a little bit of discussion here, maybe other players saying that actually she was able to get inbounds, the first point of contact, but in the end they're going to give it up, and so Ireland will have another break opportunity. Trying to see it here from this angle, it's that knee that lands first, and it looks like it does land out of bounds.
So Windler unable to rescue that one. Hot pressure from their defense of their O-line, and now making things a wee bit difficult for the Irish. Nice shots. Pulls for some undercuts, eventually finds the reset. Heather Barry. Nice pop. McCarthy launches it into the centre field. Playing her club ultimate for Iceni. I'm sure the UK-based club side will be tuning into this one and cheering on their teammate. Oh, and there's a beautiful run through, great heads up play. And Lena Seeberg going deep immediately, they just overthrow her.
Yeah, nice recognition there. Saw what the thrower was thinking and got in there, got in the disc and was thinking about going coast to coast, going all the way for the throw. But overcooked was the throw from Hauser, and now another break opportunity. The Swiss just being far too profligate with the disc.
Oh, that was Windler there with the play. Sorry, the thinness of the numbers on these Swiss shirts getting the better of me a little bit. That's a beautiful shot out into the star side. O'Brien turns and looks at the resets. Has one available to McCarthy. She pops it upfield, a gentle throw into the space. Nice lead pass. Pugh, big hammer over the top, going to get caught by the wind, but McCarthy underneath it. Great adjustment. Inside shot, and that's another break for Ireland. They now extend their lead to a full 5 points.
That hammer over the top that ended up being a little bit contested, I actually think was intended for, I think it's Emily O'Brien. Saw she was in space, was very poached towards that break side, and thought maybe the blade was going to go over the top towards and fade towards that far corner, but went with the hammer. The wind held it up a little bit, but it was well read. Gráinne McCarthy getting underneath it, and then another inside forehand. She had a devastating one earlier in the possession, and O'Brien clears out, and McCarthy looks, surveys the end zone, sees the option she wants, and that low release right into the path of the Irish receiver, Heather Barry. And 12-7 now the Irish lead. They're very close to closing this one out.
And you can see the confidence from the Irish side. Be a shame really not to see this women's final go to the full 100 minutes available within the time cap. We currently sit 65 minutes expired. Still plenty of time for the Swiss to ignite a comeback. But at the moment, just dominant form from the Irish side. Fantastic plays for their karaoke celebration later this evening. Regardless of what happens, I'm sure they will celebrate that as we see some nice give go from the Swiss Fanseat. Beautiful shot over the top. Sits it perfectly up on a string. Arms on the end of it. Nice play back. Good distribution from Lundsmann, but it's a bit too far. Another overthrow from Switzerland. Such a shame.
Just haven't really been able to execute with the excellency that they would have hoped in this game. And so far the Irish have generally been able to punish these turnovers. Their D-line points haven't necessarily been particularly clean towards the end of the first half and the start of the second, but they've made them stick on the second or third time of asking to extend their advantage.
Oh, and that's a big shot into the end zone. Up go the arms. The number 64, Kwan with the score.
13-7 now. The Irish all over Switzerland. The D-line getting a lot of run in the second half, and they're doing a very good job with it. This Irish team plays very strict and tight O-lines and D-lines. They don't necessarily cross players over. They don't play these power or all-star lines. They trust that the 7 players they've got on the field are going to do their job, whether that be on offense or defense. And actually that's one of the things that Melvin talked about at half-time, as we just see a replay of Kwan elevating and climbing the ladder for the score. They really have a lot of trust in their teammates, and it shows on the pitch with a little trust ball there, putting it into space, and Kwan repaying the faith by making the catch for the 3rd point in the row for the Irish.
And this is where all that mental preparation ahead of the tournament becomes so crucial. Switzerland face an absolute mountain to climb. Ireland charged ahead in the second half, just coming off currently 3-point unanswered run. There just really is the moment. The Swiss not necessarily being blocked by the Irish, although they've got many run-through Ds and saucy plays here out on this field, but at the moment it's just the Swiss giving the disc away. The Irish zone causing all sorts of mischief. So we see a bit of traffic direction from Hauser.
Yeah, the zone was very effective against the Russians, and it's been very effective against Switzerland here today. A Swiss side that's dealt relatively well with zone all week, but there's something about this Irish one that is really foxing Switzerland.
Oh, and just unable to make the play, running out of space on the sideline. Great effort from Lindemann, but not to be.
Pugh closed in, and that meant Lindemann had to go up a bit earlier than perhaps she would have liked. Didn't have the time to properly track it, got too far underneath the disc. Leahy now strides.
Has Kwan poached off for the reset, which she finds. Inside shot, and that is a heads-up play. Exactly what the Swiss need to fire up and get a bit more energy into their game right now. And immediately the Irish fall back into that zone look that's been so effective for them thus far. Swing upon swing for the Swiss. Tasty little upline play. Nice to see them being a bit more aggressive, trying to move around the front set of the defense. Gonna be a high stall bailout. Arcing forehand shot and pummeled into the dirt by McCarthy.
McCarthy had position on that all the way, giving up height to Cerula, who was also in the vicinity for Switzerland, but just got a much better read on that occasion.
Great adjustment downfield. Healy. Kwan. Oh, and it's another Irish hammer. Sensational scenes here on the field for Ireland, and they bring it within one.
A heat check hammer from Kwan, and the Irish are on fire. They've gone past just sizzling and simmering over, and at the moment the Swiss just can't stop them. They have no answer for Ireland.
And you see the faces there of the Swiss. I mean, we've seen strange things happen on Ultimate Fields, Benji, but this one is just so far away from them right now. I don't see them coming back here.
They've played very cleverly. They've adjusted well at half-time. They know that the most dangerous thing is Hauser with those deep shots, and they're trying to get that cup in close enough to stop those going. And when the stall count gets high, there's defenders at the back that are dropping off, knowing that that high stall punt is going to come. After the Irish O-line did a fantastic performance in the first half, we've scarcely seen them in this second stanza. They've only taken the field twice. And while much of the first half ran through Melvin, Kwon is doing a lot of the legwork now.
Well, you look at the stats pool between the two teams, Benji, and for Switzerland, it's all happening in terms of the scoreboard in about the hands of 5 players, where Ireland, nearly every single player on their roster has a stat to their name. They have been favouring Sarah Melvin. They were at the beginning of this game. Kwon rocking the second half pretty well, but just smart play from the Irish, just really outclassing the Swiss right now with the talent and depth in their squad. And a shot goes up to keep this game alive. One more point going to be beautifully read. The number 5, Laura Kunzelman. What a play.
Siebert and Kunzelman connect for Switzerland, and Kunzelman really cracked open that zone. We hadn't really seen the Swiss use the overheads that the Irish love so much, and that time really picked the lock of the Irish zone with that hammer over the top. I'm just a little surprised I haven't seen them do it earlier when they can throw it like that. And Linnea Siebert with a trust ball deep, and Laura Kunzelman skying grab for the goal.
And the Swiss using hammers of their own. I'm honestly shocked we haven't said Laura Kunzelman's name more times this game. She had an absolute blast in the pool deciding match against Italy. Such a quality player. Big target, high stature, using those long arms very effectively, reeling the disc in for the Swiss, bringing their scoreline to just 8 points in the very latter stages of this women's gold medal match. But the Swiss D-line with all the work to do right now. Can they claw the disc back off the Irish as Boyd brings us into play? Gilhini. Swiss zone. Excellent handler marking. Dunn into Highland, pops up to Melvin. Has Myrna going deep, but not quite the separation Melvin's looking for. But an easy under, such a threat in the deep part of the zone, scoring opportunities. This for the gold medal. Can they punch it in? Gilhini has been so consistent these past 2 games. It's Melvin for the score and the win for the Irish side. Oh my goodness, they just shut the Swiss out in that second half. It was so cool and calm. Of course, Melvin for the win for the Irish. What a play from that side.
What a performance from Ireland. We mentioned that Melvin had a fantastic game, 4 assists and 3 goals, including that gold medal grab, but a real team effort across the whole squad. They put in a great effort. The Irish O-line had a couple of turns, but they didn't get broken in the entire game. A very commendable performance, both with those clean holds and getting the disc back, playing good O-line defense when required. And the Irish, well-deserved champions here in the women's division at EUC 2019.
If you're a Swiss fan right now, I'm sure you'll be sorely disappointed not to see them come out with a little bit more form here in this final match of the European Championship women's division. But they have to hang their head, pull their heads, chins up, because it's been so great to see them advance to this match. They've played so well, played so smart throughout the proceedings. They've had some absolute stonkers during the whole of this tournament. Great side. As I said, they weren't looking necessarily for a particular colour here, just proud to be here on this stage at the European Championship. And we see the Irish there, though, Such a talented squad, and I'm sure many of our colleagues will be happy here, particularly Mr. Liam Grant, the Irishman seat, joining the men in the sidelines there.